Delphina Begay. I am the owner and the CEO of Business Solutions, and I specialize in accounting, bookkeeping, and financial services for rural, remote, small business in Indian country and off Indian country as well. So today I'm going to present record keeping and building good financial habits. And it's probably a good time because we just finished quarter 1 in our small businesses, and we're going to be continuing. I hope I teach you some good habits, good information in regards to bookkeeping and just things with your businesses. And feel free to ask. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And do you have the screen? Can you see the screen? My apologies. I'm not.
Okay. So we're gonna go to share, and then we're gonna go to end portion.
Okay, thank you guys. So we're going to go ahead and start the bookkeeping and building habits. While we're doing this, feel free to let me know what your name is, where you're from, and what type of business you have. So that way I can try to cater some of our upcoming slides to that way I know what kind of business I can assist with and maybe possibly do with a chart of accounts, because different industries have different types of business accounts. So that way I can try to keep everything all related within there. So feel free to just respond in your chat. Well, since it's Monday, and I like to do a motivational Monday quote for us since we're starting the last week of April. So this is what I found. Okay. So my motivational Monday quote is: there's a winner in you. You were created to be successful, to accomplish your goals, to leave your mark on this generation. You have greatness in you, and the key is to get it out. By Joel Osteen. So I thought that was kind of a perfect fitting motivational Monday quote for us. So yeah, I just wanted to have you guys introduce yourselves really quick on your chat function. Just give me your first name, the industry your business is in, or a very short description of your business. So that way, like I said, I can cater to some of the questions that I'm expecting for this session. So my business is Water Edge Business Solutions. I got the help of establish my business really through being a cohort here at Change Lab. So this is this is my logo. And this is kind of what I have, and I'll just tell you why I called myself Water Edge Business Solutions. My first clan is Baha, and I just kind of flipped my clan and just put it Water Edge. So I thought it sounded a little bit, I don't know, edgier. So at Water Edge Business Solution, my vision is assisting Indigenous entrepreneurs, businesses, and organizations to develop and grow their opportunities on and off Indian country. My mission is to empower Indigenous small businesses and organizations with financial solutions and strategies, and enabling them to achieve their profitability and stay ahead in the competitive small business landscape. So welcome again. My name is Delphina. I'm originally from White Mesa and Lachee community over in northern Arizona in the western section of the nation. My clans are I'm born from Baha and Sanajini. My Che is Twitchini, and my Nellies are Bipa20s. So that's my clan. So before I started my business, I had over 20 years of experience in the finance and accounting industry. I graduated from NAU in Flagstaff, and my first job, graduate with my business degree, was an auditor for Auction Casino. So I became an auditor there and started my finance and accounting career there. And throughout my tenure, I had other positions such as financial analyst. I was an accountant, a finance director, and chief financial officer. And most of the industries that I within my career was in the government system, the state, the casinos, the Indian Health Service, and eventually small businesses. So my opportunity working on Navajo land, I actually started back before, oh gosh, it's been a while though, but I started working for a Navajo small family-owned business up in the Lachee community. They had a tour company, and that was where my first experience working for a small business. And once I was doing that, I really enjoyed working with Navajo and Indian country there. I was able to be exposed to a lot of different types of small businesses in Indian country, and that's where it was enjoyable. And what was really cool is a lot of people in my Lachee community realized that I was a particular tour company's finance director, and I would get people knocking on my door, that other business owners, and would ask questions about some of their businesses and that they need help with, and I would do some recommendations. But I kind of, from there on, I was like, maybe I should just start my own business and work for the rest of the other small businesses around my community. And that's kind of how I kind of started. And basically, that Navajo Nation and COVID totally shut down. So most of our small business were closed. So that's where I decided to seek more opportunities and just start my own business in the finance and accounting and bookkeeping. And just a little disclaimer, this is today's presentation is just for informational purposes. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to make sure that if there's other questions and stuff, I definitely want you to seek a professional advisor such as your accountant or your CPA with some of the presentation I'm going to be discussing this afternoon. So today, the main topics that I plan to cover are the importance of financial records, tools and systems that you're currently using. A lot of us, again, I do understand that some of you are functioning on the nation, in any Indian country in the nations, that we lack infrastructure. Our internet is not as best as can be. So some of us are still doing the physical, record keeping, others are doing spreadsheets, and others are picking up softwares. And then also we're going to set up, just kind of overview the setting up of a chart of accounts, and also reviewing, tracking your sales, expenses, your inventory, and some of your receipts, and just preparing for tax season and loan applications. So I understand that some of us may have already completed our business taxes April 15th, a couple of weeks ago, and some of us are still in the position that we did an extension. So this is probably a good start for some of my, people that are here today. Is if you're in that position where you're doing extensions, this is probably a great start for you to get an idea of how to organize your business records to close out your 2024s. And then basically my goal is for you guys to have a good habit for the 2025 business. And like I said, we've already covered quarter one. We finished January through March. So that's a quarter one of your business. And this is, I feel like, is a perfect time for us to get organized and refresh and review some of your positions in your business. And once I present you all these information, I'm hoping that your learning objectives coming on to taking the time out. It's going to be an hour and a half presentation. And I really appreciate that you're taking your time out of your busy schedule to come and hear my presentation. And so I'm just hoping that after this is done, you'll monitor your income and expenses for your business. You'll be able to make better business decisions for your organization, and you'll be in tax compliance for your business. And I'm going to look at some chats really quick. Okay, I have Jaslyn from Seb Bahagini Tours. Kaylee Bryant works in the cleaning services. That's a really good opportunity, Kayla. And drone services. Okay, Ariel. So she's in a lot of different pieces. Delphina's from Waterhole Canyon, one of the tour companies. I have Casey from tourism, Shyla from tourism, and we got a food summer from Food Cell Trailers. Okay. Wow, there's quite a bit different diverse groups here. So welcome. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is why it's important for us the importance of financial records to keep, everything organized and on top is just because of if you have main things is there's effective tracking, you have informed decision making, there's legal compliance, financial health insights, and clear financial pictures. So in a nutshell, if you have an effective tracking system in your record keeping, you're going to be accurate in recording your incoming and outgoing funds. Also, you'll make proper informed decision making when you're reviewing all these reports that you're doing through your business operation. So once you keep proper record keeping, everything's simplified for you to do financial planning and basically make good decision making with your businesses. There's legal compliance too. So once you organize, it's really critical that you have these backup documentations, and also to avoid penalties, such as if some of us are still if we didn't submit our business taxes on the 15th and you guys did a extension, I'm sure you either electronically or you sent it to the IRS and you signed off and that you got saved those documents that you did do an extension to your business. And that's going to be second round. You got to finish it by October 15th. And then financial reports that provides your financial health for allowing better management and growth opportunities. So with this said, some of us are applying for the NSBCI loan or other grants or other small business loans. This is critical. They need those financial records for them to process your applications and make these reports for those areas that you're trying to seek funding. And then you have a clear financial picture. So you have an accurate record of your cash flows, your profits, expenses, and essentially for having effective financial management. So you keep on top of this, you'll know how much on a monthly basis your incoming revenue is, what your incoming expenses are, what business expenses are every month the same. And if there's any other interesting expenses that are increasing or decreasing from prior year. So what are you doing with these records? Well, you're actually wanting to know where is your monthlies going, where are these expenses, revenues going. So you're more in depth in understanding how your business financial operations are happening. So, and then you'll realize, do I have the money right now to purchase certain things? Do I have the money tomorrow? Will I have the money to borrow? And what is my income tax liability? Once you get the groove of running your business's financials, these are the questions you'll actually really know what's going on. So a lot of them, I do see tour companies coming up. And today, when I traveled in from Phoenix, our gas at Sam's Club was $3.15 a gallon. I come to Tuba, it's $2.96. Then I was thinking, okay, these tour companies on the reservation that are running their tours, our gas right now is $2.96. What is it going to be during high season? Is it going to increase or decrease? All those type of things take a factor. And now you're logistically thinking what's my gas cost going to be for my tour vehicles that are going out to feature Antelope Canyon and things like that. Do I need to budget some items? Do I need to, those are little things that we have to think of. Why is record keeping important to do? Well, you're going to have to report to the government. And there's a lot of factors in there. One is our income taxes. So you're going to do your state and federal income taxes. These are requirements. Your sales tax. So we got our state and tribal taxes that we'll have to do. So sales tax for us is if you're on the nation with the Navajo Nation in the nation, you are subject to the tribal sales tax, and more than likely it's going to be the 6%. And if you are off reservation, you're going to have to do the Arizona TPT taxes. So you account for the city, the county, and the state in that. And on average, it's anywhere from 9.9 to maybe 10.1% for taxations. And then the tribe is usually 6% across the board. It varies. I think in the hospitality, you also have to do another sales tax with the tribe. Payroll taxes, these are companies that do actually have payroll employees. You're expected to do payroll taxes. Most upstarting and new businesses don't really do payroll taxes. Maybe I would say about year 3 to 4 on out, you'll start wanting to go on the payroll taxes, and you'll do that, which is paying Medicaid, unemployment, Social Security. So that's what payroll taxes is lumped up. Then you have your regulatory, so the license and permits. So you have to pay your business renewals for the state, the tribe. Those are the other expenses you would go into. And if you are one that wants to start contracting with the government, you have to do that certification too. So they also need, financial information from you. And that's one of the requirements for keeping a good record keeping. And also, if you're planning to seek funding, such as small business loans, tribal loans, grants, and other things, bankers, they want that. They want to ensure and review your banking transactions, your financials. So the lenders, your insurances, workers' comp liability. My first starting out was working with this tourism company. So I am aware that a lot of them are these the insurance on the tour vehicles usually do a yearly wanting to review their insurance and their liability. So they'll be asking for those information as well. And then grants and other fundings are also wanting to review your business financials. and basically, in a nutshell, your business operations. So once you getting the understanding of your financials, you'll be able to detail track down to your customers, your vendors, your inventory. And you'll know, on average, which of your customers pay how much to you and all that. So that's like you doing what your need is necessity in becoming strategic about understanding your more details of your expenses and revenues. And there's also for the payroll that you have to do with payroll and taxes and the liabilities, and also understanding your financial record transactions. So when you have good record keeping, improves the ability to just be quicker, more efficient record keeper. You'll be able to analyze your margins, like I said, like the vehicles, and see trends, successes, and pitfalls, and plan and budget and apply for grants and loans quickly. And you also help your accountant. What we're trying to find out from these records are your income. So how much money you receive from your business is your sales and your revenue. Your expenses is how much money you had to spend to operate your business. And what is your profit, which is your net income. It's income minus expenses equals net income. So this is where just envision your monthly bank statement for your business. There's so many moving pieces in your bank statement that at the end, when you see the bank balance, don't think that's your net income, because some of those will go into your balance sheet and their liabilities. So we got to move some of those, like if you do owner's drawdowns. You pay yourself out in your business and you transfer it to your personal account. That owner drawdown is not an expense. It goes into your balance sheet as an equity. So that's where you just have to be cognizant that when you're looking at your monthly business bank statement accounts, don't think that's your net income. We got to move some pieces around, and then you'll get your true net income with some of these other things moving in different sections of your business finances. So 3 steps in keeping your books that I really highly recommend is keep receipts for everything. I really suggest keeping everything you have. And I know it can be daunting, but at the same time, at the end, when you're ready to close out, it's worthwhile, because sometimes you forget what you did in the first quarter of your business functions, and then you'll be like, oh, I had to pay, a $5,000 bill, but one was for, a repair on a vehicle, and the other one was for, another piece of maybe an insurance or something. You combined it, 5,000. Here it was actually a split payment. Then you have to review your records and look at your receipt. Also, some of the daily things is like some of us business owners do deposits on our invoices, and then it's a $10,000 deposit that day, but actually you have 4 vendors that you did deposit, but in the bank side of things, they'll see as 10 grand deposit. And then you have to break that out to say this came out from 4 vendors at this much, and that total 10 grand, things like that. So if you have your backup, then you'll be like, oh, okay, I remember I did this. If you don't do on a timely basis, that's what kind of happens. So tracking your income and expenditures regularly is really a key thing to your business. So doing it daily, weekly, or monthly. And track accounts receivable, money owed to you, and accounts payable, money you owe. So these are accounts receivable, or the money owed to you. Those are invoices. So if you can do an invoice system or do it on I just built up mine, honestly, because there's other application software that you can actually integrate with your software systems, or just it'll just integrate into QuickBooks or whatever you use, and everything has charges and nothing's really free in some sense. So just look into that. Like I said, I do mine on my own. I think just because I'm a bookkeeper by trade, I think it's a little easier for me to do that, and I kind of save money on it. There's other softwares that you use, and if you're using QuickBooks, that's a feature, but I believe it's an extra cost. And just reconciling all accounts each month. So all accounts, your personal, your business, your business checking, business savings, your credit cards, your loans, your point of sale system, all those need to always be reconciled all at one time and get cleaned up. So it just makes it easier for you at the year end. And this then helps you create financial reports to give you specific information about your business. So which records to keep? Again, like I said, I'm emphasizing keep all your receipts, your invoices, copies of checks. Some of my current clients, we kind of forget to take pictures or scan our checks before we issue out to the payer. So just look at those and maybe just make sure that if you're still doing checks at this time, just make sure you remember to either put it in your checkbook and be really detailed on who you sent it and what it was for. Also your bank and credit card statements. Everything's pretty much electronic and sometimes they charge you for those. So review those with your business banking accounts and your business credit card, see if you can get them in a PDF file and when you log into your accounts. Also your 1099s, those are contract workers. So make sure you also track that and get a W-9, the W-9 forms filled out, and then it turns into 1099 at the end of the year. And also if you're doing cash transactions, book on the side, your cash in and cash out. Okay, I'm gonna check if anybody's had some questions. That's a good point, Casey. She mentioned keep separate accounts, personal and business, for a clean report because banks and investors look at that. It can go back 3 years to 5 years. Yes, they do review those and they can go back that long. So commingling is, I really do not like to see commingling, but I honestly, I can take somebody doing that for at least the first 3 years of their business and then really encourage you to start doing it. Just go straight with just doing your business expense, just using your business account. So here are I'm going to mention a few things for tools and systems like tracking with spreadsheets, utilizing an application or software. I understand that if some of us are in such rural areas, we aren't able to pull up some of these things, or even like trying to extract data through the internet. It can be so time consuming. It just depends on where you are on the reservation. So that kind of prompts us to just do the old school way. I don't see it a problem. And it's just as long as you are tracking it in some form, be able to decipher the expenses and the revenues of your business, it will be able to, it'll just be easier for you to be organized. So some of the questions to ask as you're designing your record keeping system is, what is the goal that I want to accomplish with my record keeping systems? What pieces of information do I need to accomplish that goal? And where in my business is that information? So these are the key elements for you to start getting your record keeping system going. So some of the things like the last is, where is my business information? So log into your business banking account and know where to get your PDF of your bank statements, know how to extract the data from the Excel. I'm going to try to make you guys not utilize manual or looking at your bank statement is what I don't want you to do, and then entering it by hand, your expenses and revenues. I'm gonna do a walkthrough in this session of doing this. And then later, if some of you guys are interested, I can go more detail. I prefer like a one-on-one, so maybe we can talk to Change Lab if there's people that are of interest of doing that. Okay. So some important thoughts as you're designing your record keeping is start simple and build with your business. So try not to go, like what I'm encouraging is try not to really go too much in getting a lot of chart of accounts. So let's just keep it basic for you. And then if there's something you need to track more often, we can add on to. And how detailed do the records need to be? Sometimes if you're overly detailed, it's just a little bit too much. It's kind of like a little audit thing that you kind of can put yourself into. So I really recommend reviewing your Schedule C on your taxation, and that's a good start to start your chart of accounts. The cost of your system. So if you want to just build it up with the basic spreadsheet, it's a no cost, but it's a cost of your time and understanding of how you're setting up your business, and also time consideration. You literally need to take at least 1 to 2 hours a week to do this if you want to do this yourself. Again, like Casey mentioned, separate accounts and really try not to commingle is what I'm trying to get my point across today as well. So what accounts do you use for your business? So knowing your financial accounts, you will use this year will help you get ready for your tax preparer too. So understanding what are the moving pieces to make your business flow in your, all 3 statements, your bank, your income statement, your balance sheet, and your cash flow. So all of those in a nutshell will gets you your financial information. So what you're looking at is your checking account. And these are all business related though. So let's just that's where it's a business checking, business savings. If you have a business credit card, I do know a few clients that are currently using their regular personal credit card for the business, but strictly using business expenses to their credit card. We shouldn't really do that. I'm highly encouraging everybody just to try to seek a business credit card. If not, try to just reevaluate what you're doing now. And then if you do have a business credit card, that goes into your closeouts. Small business loans. So some of us got some kinship loan from Change Lab. That would be considered a loan, or an SBA loan, small business administration loans. That's kind of pertaining to your business. And also sometimes we have small business, your business credit line of credit. So that's the credit line there. So if you can't get a credit card and you have maybe been in at least 2 years in your business, I think they'll reevaluate that and see if you're possibly able to get a line of credit for your business. And I would encourage that piece. And then some of us are also using Square, PayPal, Stripe to get payments. So this is the one that you also need to be attentive to and pay attention to. And that rolls up in our business functions. So these are a couple of methods I'm going to tell you and what work some of us are still doing, but it's okay. I don't see it a problem as long as you know what you're doing and how your business is running. And then just get more organized is what I'm saying. And then maybe next year your goal is to get on a spreadsheet, or maybe next year your goal is to get Wave or QuickBooks. But being a little organized and understanding how your business function is one of the key elements to work on your business. So a shoebox method. So what that shoebox method means is everything goes into a shoebox and then it's taken out, sorted, and processed at the end of the period, usually by the month or by the quarter. And you do it with an adding machine, a sheet of paper, or a spreadsheet. So that's kind of like the shoebox method. The pros of that is you're keeping record. It's inexpensive until you have to pay someone else to do it, and it's easy and accessible. The cons is it's not current on data sometimes, and the end of the year could be time consuming, and they're subject to mathematical errors. So I don't, like I said, it's a start off. You're getting there to learn. And I don't have a problem as long as you can be organized and say, pulling out these records. Notebook method, writing all the financial transaction down in a notebook on a regular basis. And just envision ledgers, as some of you guys out there that are in finance and accounting too. It's kind of like a ledger book too. It could be a simple notebook or can be a specialized book for the type of what you're keeping, like a ledger book again, farm record books, mileage logs. And with that said, they do have those. I've seen them in Walmart. So if you want to try doing that, it's more convenient for you. I would definitely encourage you to also take a look at those ledger books. It's kind of good information if you want to manually do it. But at the same time, let's use the resources that we currently have. Mileage log is definitely something that we kind of forget to do. So I would highly encourage all you travelers that travel a lot from the reservation to definitely check on your mileage and review those and keep logs of them. Like I said, some of us use Mile IQ to do these mileage logs, but when you get in the middle of the reservation, it doesn't work, and it just doesn't key the time. So just like there's spots that are open. For me, I had to do my mile log from Lachii to Tuba City this morning. So that I put in on my phone for tracking. So again, the pros is it's more organized than the shoebox. It's easy to collect data and can be reconciled on a regular basis. The cons are it can be difficult if you have a lot of records and subject to mathematical errors. And saying that is like if you have just your checking and saving business account, now you're integrating your loans and your credit cards. With this notebook method, it kind of gets very time consuming or overwhelming, honestly. The next method is items are sorted into categories and timeframes in accordion file or file folders. They usually call this the tickler systems. So usually you use that you kind of organize it like quarterly for taxes and insurance renewals and other bills. I've seen this done. It's almost getting ready to get to that level of a spreadsheet. So I kind of see it that way. Again, more organized than a shoebox. It's fairly inexpensive. It's fairly easy to find. The cons is that might not be up to date and it's subject to mathematical errors. I will go ahead and probably send that. Somebody's asking if we'll email so the information. I will go ahead and send that. What mileage app do you use to keep track of mileage? Marissa, I do not, honestly. I just do it manually and save it in like my calendars on my phone. And then I'll do every week, I'll just have my mileage. I have a mileage spreadsheet. So if you're not on the reservation and you're somewhere where your internet's in good connection, if you picked up QuickBooks, there's a feature that will track your mileage. If not, I would definitely recommend Mile IQ. I will send Sophia my mileage log if you guys want to do the old-fashioned way. And that's how I do mine, is just that mileage. So again, mileage logs, right now it's 70 cents per mile. So we've increased it this year, and it does add up for us native-led business owners, because some of us can go practically over 5,000 to 10,000 miles around just a reservation alone, going from Winter Rock to Page to Tuba City to, Gallup and Shiprock, and you're doing those, it does add up. So I highly encourage making sure you guys start tracking mileage. So here's a spreadsheet method. It's just, again, like the notebook method, but you use the spreadsheet, typically Microsoft Excel, or you can use the free option of Google Sheets. And then you can probably use your Apple if you have your Apple laptop. I'm not an Apple person, so it's a little bit finicky for me to utilize their Excel type of, I don't remember, it's numbers, or I don't know what they call Apple. So the pros is the spreadsheet can do the math for you. It can be backed up, and it can be sent to your service providers like your CPA or your bookkeeper, so they'll be able to decipher what information you have from a simple spreadsheet. The cons is you have to have access to a computer. The online work requires an internet connection, and there is a learning curve. So these are the things to do spreadsheet bookkeeping. If you're going to do that, you either can just decide which system will be working with you. So just basically how you want to organize your spreadsheet. What you need to do is just basically sync your business bank accounts or all your business accounts, either upload it or manually enter it. So we're going to do a walkthrough, and then I'll show you how to do all that with columns and stuff like that. And then I would recommend 1 hour every week to categorizing all your transaction, and then you can review your profit and loss sheet. And also number 4 is 1 hour every month to reconcile, to confirm books match your bank accounts. So basically reconciling each account for at least 1 hour. So if you have multiple accounts, it will literally take, if you have like 5 moving pieces of accounts in your system, that's already 5 hours of the month to reconcile all that information. The last is accounting software methods. QuickBooks is the most popular accounting software. And then I do have clients that use Wave and Xero. So I prefer QuickBooks and Wave, and then I have my own built-in system, but that's basically the spreadsheet method. The cost is there. Wave is free, but it does so much, but limited. If you need additional features, you pay for that. Where also QuickBooks, so they've been going up year over year since I started back 3 years ago. So that's just expect that increase year over year. So what's the pros of having an accounting software system is it's powerful, flexible, and built for the task. You have more information you can enter for the data. There's no math errors, and it can be much quicker if there's a lot of transactions going on. The cons is often it's expensive. A computer is required, and there is a learning curve on how you're going to enter some of the transactions. So choosing the right accounting software. Consider your needs and your accounting skills. Look at a cloud application and keep your budget in mind. So I would start with the very lowest cost and see how that works for you, and then slowly build up to where you're at with your business. So right now, most of my QuickBooks clients are still using the essential, I believe is the beginning module, and the second one, because that one does like payroll and invoicing too on the second tier of the software system. And I believe it's like anywhere from $35 to $40 or something like that per month. I might be wrong, but I should have reviewed that. And then make sure your plan is compatible with your bank. So some of the features, they'll automatically link up your business, your account activities. I noticed that a lot of in QuickBooks, the ones that are credit union companies, credit union banks, some of them aren't very compatible with these accounting softwares. So just be cognizant of it and just do your homework on that piece. And then you can start, like I said, start with the subscription that meets your minimum requirements. And then look for programs that allow you to upgrade as your needs change, as your business grows, or if you're going to start going payroll processing and things like that, it's going to cost a little extra for those extra features. Again, the benefits again for having a digital bookkeeping cloud-based accounting software is it's easy to update, change, and share information, and it automates your repetitive task. And it's convenient and you have a peace of mind. So what are you doing with these records? What helps? It will basically, in a nutshell, it helps you prepare financial statements. It prepares you to build your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and the statement of cash flow. And at the end, it helps you complete your tax form Schedule C. So the problem when you don't, if you have poor record keeping, the consequences, you have missing deductions, you increased your taxes, and what the solution is keeping a good record keeping system and work with a bookkeeping professional. So when you're at that level, definitely hire a bookkeeper, possibly me or somebody else in the community. But if it's just not right now, it's in bad shape. I would strongly try to find somebody before you finish the June businesses. So because June will be halfway through the year. Again, I'm saying commingling personal and business expenses. So some of the problem is using business accounts to pay personal expense. It's difficult to determine business expenses when it gets commingled, and you're actually utilizing the loss of the liability protection. The solution definitely is to just maintain separate accounts, and that way you can maintain a proper records. So if you are the person that sometimes you accidentally swipe your business card for a personal expense, just move it over, recategorize it as an owner's draw. Some examples I see is like when we want to get our nails done and when you don't have your personal bank account and you end up using the business expense, it's not really a business expense. Then I will, as a bookkeeper, I move it to owner's draw. But I wouldn't do that all the time, and it just gets too excessive and it gets messy. And then again, personal, it's a lot time consuming. I have a few that are doing the commingling still, but at the end of the year, I end up giving back their spreadsheets, and then they have to determine, was that really personal, was that business? And then it takes a couple hours, almost a day work of me to move those business transaction out of the personal so we can account it for their business expenses and all that stuff, especially when it's year-end close. It's just a lot of processes. So to separate your business from personal banking, and if you're doing that right now, obtain a separate business account by you utilize a business EIN, so your account name is on the business name, and most of your statements will be a calendar month end statement. So review your business bank statements and see if they're always year end of the month. I've noticed in some of my experience with the credit card systems, some of them don't end at the end of the month. So I would advise to maybe call your business credit card, and see if they can change the dates and accommodate the year end statements date instead of the middle of the month. Some of them have like 15, they close out at 15th of the month. So when you're running these, extracting the data, it can be a little bit, you would have to go by the closeout of the 15th rather than the 30th type of closeouts. And then again, there's always two types of business transaction to track: your deposits and your withdrawals on your bank statement. So when you're reviewing your bank statements and the banking deposits, that's your business deposits. Most likely they're going to be either your deposits of checks, your deposits of cash, or your deposits of point of sale payments like Square, Stripe, PayPal. Tour companies, most of them are using Fair Harbor. So Fair Harbor would be in this point of the deposits of point of sales. Your withdrawals, so your business withdrawals, when you're taking money out of your business banking account, you either use your debit card and for the product and services, or you write a check for your products and services, or you do the online bill pay to pay for some of the service providers. So these are the mostly 3 business transactions that are withdrawals in your bank account, your business bank account. So here it is. This is kind of a quick, in a nutshell, short, high level, how to do download your monthly bank transaction from your banking account, from your business banking account. So the first thing is most of the business bank accounts or most accounts are gonna have that CSV file. That's the original file. Like it looks like an Excel, but there's some functions that in the back end that brings us all the data of what you're doing for the month. So make sure you download the CSV version, and then you just go ahead and run, like we just finished March. So do the March 1st to the March 31st, and then save it in a file. And then we're going to resave it to an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm saying that because you move it from one format to another, because when you do the Excel spreadsheet, it has other features in there. I pivot off of these spreadsheets. That's a little higher level for beginner stage, but it's useful. So that's why I like to keep it as an Excel spreadsheet format. So at the end, it should have an XLS. And that's where, then once you get that data together, then we're going to go ahead and format your deposits and withdrawals and, tell you which is debit, which is credit, and clean your data up. And then by the time you get it all taken care of, we'll be able to categorize it, also get all the other stuff together. And then you'll have the dates of the transactions as well. And then you can either close out that monthly report and also just add in what your total deposits and your total withdrawals for the month. And then after that, you just save or print your monthly tracking spreadsheet for your tax return. So that piece will be utilized for your Schedule C because it just needs your income and expenses. And like I said, don't worry, I'll show you the walkthrough. Now we're going to be looking at the setting up of a chart of accounts. So the chart of account is a list of all your company's accounts together in one place. It provides you with a bird's eye view of every area of your business that spends or makes money. And the main account types are the revenue, expenses, assets, liabilities, and equity. And this is a roadmap for all your reports. So if this is set up incorrectly, your reports really appear just meaningless. It won't make sense when you're trying to build up your financial reports. Basically, it then matches your financial statements, and the financial statements and the bank statements, all of that, those numbers should all be balanced and reconciled together. And that's how you it's basically a puzzle piece. You just break that financial statements apart from all the activities that you're doing in your business. And then you can organize your main groups like the marketing, the office administration, payroll, things like that, and then create sub-accounts under your main groups. And then you must set up before you can record your transactions. So setting up the chart of account is best to build first. And Sophia will be sending out the main 36 type of chart of accounts that most small businesses utilize, and some of the other stuff I can kind of explain as we go through this. Now, retaining the records and receipts. So keep those receipts for at least 5 years in case you get audited by IRS. Some documents you need to keep longer. So really just rule of thumb is snap a photo and attach your accounting systems. Keep receipts for assets purchased for as long as you keep the asset, and set up a filing system that makes sense for you and to store your digital receipts. So with that said, just remember that the credit card bank statement is not necessarily a receipt. You need to actually have a copy of those receipts. You're swiping through your credit card and paying things like that. Assets, those are high dollar assets to your company. Let's say you want to purchase a $2,000 copy machine. That becomes an asset to your company. That's a business equipment. So you definitely need to save for that. Let's say you need your administrative assistant, you purchase a $3,000 laptop. That laptop, with it being that high dollar type of equipment, that again is an office equipment. Another thing, a lot of us Navajo Nation business owners have lack of infrastructure. You're purchasing a generator. That generator that you purchase then becomes an asset to your company. So those are the little things that just kind of just be cognizant and thinking about when you purchase these high dollar. For us small businesses, I think about anything you swipe $500 above. Is it an office equipment? Is it something for the business? Does it become an asset? Review those things, review it with your CPA or your accountant, and they will be able to help you determine if those become an asset on your books. And like I said, most of the time, office equipment, generators, vehicles, some of these tour companies do have tour vehicles that they purchase under their business banking account. Those are fixed assets to their company. So they save all the title, the registration, all those items. And then on their end, they have a depreciation sheet for that. Always retain copies of invoices and payments. That's really critical. So, because that's going to help you, but that actually your invoices and payments go on your revenue side. So at the end of the year, when you're doing 1099s, that can kind of help you balance your 1099s to make sure that your 1099s match these invoices and payments for your services. Again, electronic record keeping is okay. So if you kind of keep everything electronic, but make sure you always have a backup system or somewhere so you don't lose your electronic record keeping, like basically scanning your receipts and things like that. And retain records of minimum of 5 years from the date of tax filing. So any of your tax filing stuff, try to keep them for at least 5 years. 6 good record keeping habits now is to wrap things up. Never skip end of the month reconciliations. Just once you do that, you just make things fall behind. You go behind on your reports. Try to keep that monthly statements done. And I would encourage you all to just reconcile the first 10 days of every beginning of the month. So that way you're up to date with everything. Be tidy. Always put a vendor or client name on checks, deposit, expenses, and bills. So all those moving dollar pieces, when you get a check, make a note of it. Even put a note on your check that you're writing to and from if you're still utilizing checks. Your deposits. I know we want to get paid right away, and sometimes we forget. We have our phones. Take a picture of your deposit checks too, and then give it to the bank so they can deposit. Things like that, just make sure you have those things. And then us living in border towns, we have Walmart to get our office supplies and things like that. Now Walmart sends it to you by email. So maybe just get a business setup account where you can just put a Gmail for Walmart to just send those receipts to that particular Gmail. I would set it that way so you actually have electronic from those places that you're utilizing on the border towns. And don't assume. So if presented with an unusual transaction, always verify your assumption as to how it should be entered with your accountant. Just think about some of these expenses that you're not sure of, and before you even pay them or stuff, definitely talk to your accountant or your bookkeeper or your CPA about some of these unusual transfers. You're not sure where to put them, or is that actually a real business expense? Keep backups, upload documents for each transaction where reference is necessary, and add memos to all or any significant transaction. And know what to trust. So only use the system shortcuts in QBO, QuickBooks Online, if you're absolutely sure of what they do. Otherwise, test every feature to understand how the data is handled and where it is recorded. Definitely check for those, and then Google search or go on the QuickBooks helpline. They actually have videos. So if there's questions about certain expenses or revenues you have, and review your work. Use the transaction reports by vendor, general ledgers, profit and loss, and balance sheet reports to check your work for consistency across periods and accounts. Okay, so best practices and keep record keeping for small business. Again, I keep emphasizing separate your business and personal finances. Use your accounting softwares. Work closely with an accountant and hire a bookkeeper. Even if you're savvy, find somebody that will be able to do those things and make things easier for you. And it's one less task you have to think about. And I know a lot of us business owners we're pretty much run every department, and we all have one hat, but trying to do all things at one time. Just record keeping is just really essential of your whole business. And it's like the one that helps you run the business operations, strategic, everything. We rely on a good financial planning with if we have really good record keeping. And then establish internal controls, create processes to maintain clean records. When I say processes, it's like within your company, like understanding who, who's gonna write the check, who, they're all across the board. We all have different tasks and we all don't do the same task in some sense. So internal control is really the essentials too. And doing that, creating a process. So if that person leaves, you already have a process in place that have procedures that the new hire can do those work because you already have written up the process of your business. Again, know your numbers. We got to, us being in a new government administration, we don't know if we're going to go into recession. So things are right now looking at your first quarter expenses of revenue and then figuring out throughout the year, quarter 2, 3, and 4, where are you at your business at that time? Do you have to cut some budgets, some of your expenses, things like that? Or do you need to, change some of the things around with your business? So that's kind of the things you have to be cognizant. And when you do this, you're tax planning year round. So you're just preparing for yourself to be tax ready and being ready to prepare to close out your books in a timely manner. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do my spreadsheets for the Excel. And then maybe you guys can try it. So when we're done with our webinar today, I have a goal for you all to do. It's either run your 3 financial statements for the last full year. So if you have Wave or if you have QuickBooks Online, run those 3 statements and get familiar with what it looks like today for last year's items. And the ones that are still haven't got a system yet, put together all your receipts and expenses and record them in Excel. Try to do a spreadsheet method and see how that works for you. Okay, so I'm going to change and I'm going to have. I'm going to, and then we can pick up. So, okay, so right now, this is how I would set your 2025s. If you guys are starting to start to just be really organized for your business, and this is my recommendation. I could do it. Let's see my whole thing. Oops. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is like have a file for 2025 1099s. So maybe put your W-9s for your contract workers, put them in that file folder. This one here is only your business bank account statements. So put them in there in a PDF file. And that's where it is. And some of you groups might have more than one, but put all your business bank statements in here, check-in and savings. The ones that are doing checks, if you can like do an Excel spreadsheet of the checks you wrote out to, or just put the copy of the checks you took that you wrote out and scan that checks and throw it in this file in the checks area. Then the credit card, you're going to put your credit card statements in here, and that's where you would put all your PDF file of your credit card. And then this is your downloads for your business banking account, the CVS file that we mentioned earlier. And then you transpose it into Excel file and move it into the Excel. And all your invoices should all go in one area. And then if you have business loans, I would put it here. You should have a business loan statements, again, in a PDF file, throw them here, establish a file folder. And lastly, go ahead and put all your 2025 receipts here and scan them and put them in here. And that's where you would go through the receipts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the CVS file. I have a mock test Excel file. Okay, let's see if it's opening. Okay, so now it's opening. And so you'll get this. This is straight from your bank account. And each of our bank accounts all have different types of information, but this is exactly what I'm looking for as a CSV. I'll tell you your bank account. This is just telling me by item, and then your date and the descriptions. Okay, my apology, I guess we weren't sharing. So this is exactly what's extracted from your bank account, your business bank account, where this particular one, I ran a report for January 1st, from the 1st through the end of January 31st. And so this is a CVS file that was extracted from the bank. So this is the same exact information that's on your bank statement, but now it's just in an Excel format. So it has detailed information of your account, your bank account, all these little information here. Some of them you really don't need. So what happens is I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna resave it, save as, and we're gonna change that to, see that CSV? We're gonna change it to Excel. And then we'll just resave it. Where's my resaving button? Save here. Now, this turned into an Excel spreadsheet, Excel now. It's no longer that CSV file. Now we're gonna clean up the file, and this is how I usually do it. Rule of thumb, just say that's your master copy, then create a copy. And that's the one you're gonna clean up. And then, I don't know, so I'm gonna just, so you can see all that information. So this is what I do with the manual version. So we really don't need the balance because it's not useful for us now. So I just delete that. This tag information is not useful for me. There's nothing in that line. Okay. So here are the other data that is really informative for me that I will probably most likely need. Don't know why my home key doesn't have that, so it's okay. And then my filter. Oh goodness. I don't have that other piece, but that's okay. We'll just keep on moving. So what's important here is I'm going to insert, and we're going to do the debit and credit. Insert a row, column, right? Entire column. There you go. Then I'm going to change it to credit, do a new row or new column, and then debit. So in this particular scenario, I don't know why it's not. I have that little thing in the middle and I can't move it. Forget it. I think I figured it out. Okay. So again, the red one, when you're reviewing your things, the red one here, this is a business they withdrew from their bank account. So when you're withdrawing from your bank account, it becomes a debit. And each of your banks will have different, it might be backwards, just review them. And then that black mark one, that was a credit. So they deposit. So that becomes a credit. And so you're gonna label that, and that helps you go through there. So I will go do that. And then I'm gonna look at the description, and you're gonna do two things. Two things I do here is I put who we paid. So I do a new line for payee, and then I'm gonna put charts of account. I just do like just a acronym. We're gonna look at all of these and see. So you look at that detail and you're like, oh, okay, that one was from tax. The vendor that you paid is tax 1099, whatever, that's a company, 1099.com. This one looks like a Baja Grill, and then this one is United States Postal Service, Staples. So you're doing this on every month if you're doing manual. This is a check, so that means I need to go look at the check and see who I wrote to $5,000. Okay, so that then you have to do your search for that. You wrote another check that looks like for $600 to someone, and I have to go look that up in my own thing. You have a deposit. Let's say you were doing consulting with ChangeLab, and ChangeLab, you were a consultant for a project, so ChangeLab paid you $2,500 for a job. And then here you were at Twin Arrows. Since I go there quite often, I know that's a restaurant, so I was eating over there. And I did a withdrawal, and I'm gonna put Delphina, that was my owner draw. And now you got who you paid for in that spreadsheet. Then you're gonna review and say, what is this? What type of chart of account was this one? So we knew we're doing January, and I'm like, oh, I had to issue my 1099s to my clients. And so I got charged, that's an expense. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna label this as software because I purchased the software to build up that 1099 for me. Baja Grill is food, so I would put it as meals, and then UPS as postage, Staple as office supplies. And then I'm gonna go back in my books and look at my checkbook and see who I wrote $5,000 and who I wrote for 600. ChangeLab, that was that was my consulting or my revenue, so it sells. And then I went ahead and ate at the steakhouse, so that's a meal, business meal. And then this is my owner's draw. So then you got that all organized for the month of January. And then you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to write my report of what my revenue and expenditures were. I'm trying to figure out where the filter is. So I'm gonna filter, and so I'm gonna do the whole thing. I'm gonna buy credit and debit, and that's where I can like, I'm doing a fast way, but pretty much for the month of January, I've only got revenue of 2005 and I expended. So that's where you use your math formulas. I expended 7,791. So I now have separated my business expense, my revenue and my expenses for the month, and that's the total. And for the ending product, it's this minus, well, actually plus, because and that's how you can get your report, and you have that total for the month, and then you can go ahead and save it. Otherwise, you can keep building on it and building on it. And that's what I do. We can do it by the month, or I can roll it up as a total. Does anybody have any questions? Are you?
Someone wants to know what COA is.
Chart of account. So remember that chart of account Sophia sends you? That PDF file? That is that's basically categorizing your business expenses into those areas. So when you get these done, when you get this all done, you're gonna have 12 of these spreadsheets, or you'll roll it up in one. I'm more of a roll up in one because I do a pivot off of it. But if you do it by a monthly stage, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this one, and I'll show you what eventually we're trying to do, the end process. Oh, before I get this off, okay, so the end process when we're doing organizing our record keeping this is what we're utilizing. So at the end of the year, you're collecting all your business activities, and this is where you're putting all of your income business related. So that part one, income part one, this is that line one. This is where you're gonna put all of your sales and revenues that you're generating in this line. And then your expenses, this is the Schedule C. So take a look at this. This is called a Schedule C 1040. You add this onto your tax, and you're gonna separate. So these are really the leaders for your chart of accounts. All your advertising expense for the year goes here. All your car and truck expenses is gonna go here, and all the way down. So these can help you do those items. I'm trying to think of some other, so that's basically what we're building to add that information into two sections for your financial statements, and then for your taxes. Okay, so that's the Schedule C, and I can have Sophia send link from IRS if you want to get that form to review. How much time do I have? Okay, all righty. And then I'm gonna show you another way of cleaning up your information. Did I share? I'm not sharing it, huh? Okay, so let me go back here. I'm getting used to this. Is there any questions while I'm getting the other one loaded up?
But everyone's appreciating the information.
Okay. All right, so let me share this one. That'll come up or no? Or should I do the share again?
We're back in the file track.
Oh.
Yeah, I can go back and reshare.
Okay, so this is what we're also building up. Honestly, you can get this off of SBA. I built this one off, but I'll think about it and see if I can share, because I don't want to really share this resource. This is the one I built up. So I built it up, and only my clients get this report. So I do appreciate some of my clients today they have. So this is like a mock one. So
Stop share and then go back to share.
to share
Yeah.
it. Did it do it again?
We were still looking at the file. Yeah, and then share the blue button.
Okay, sorry. This is my built up of your profit and loss sheet, and also has some information for the ones that go on the balance sheet. So it's everything. So when you get this particular worksheet I do have, this will balance out by the year and by the month. So like I said, this is just a sample mock. You're gonna have your actual. So we've actually completed January through April. We're almost done with April. So this is what it would look like. So in this case, some of the revenue for this businesses has consulting, and they also have some sales, there's dividends, and then I throw uncategorized income in this line. When you don't know where it's gonna go, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna have to look at it back later and see where this 2005 came. But my expectation at the end of the year is I'm gonna take this out of this line and move it somewhere in either consulting, sales, or dividend. So that way I now know that this is a research for me and my clients will take a look at. So these are the actuals. These projections, then I can look at it and anticipate how much the rest of the year is, or I'll just keep it as is and just do the only actuals. This report right now is just actual based. Now the expenses are the expense lines, which I mimic pretty much off of your Schedule C. These are the actual expenses that will go almost on your Schedule C information. So I kind of made that simplified. But again, you will have different things like tour companies will have like generator expense, and then they'll have generator expense for the generator they pay, and then a generator fuel, and then they'll have tour vehicle fuel. So that's a little bit different. They can add it in these lines, and that way they can decipher the true fuel expense for their tour vehicles, and then their generator fuel vehicles. Other things like meals when they travel, and then regular meals, like some of the groups will do, I know some of my clients do quarterly meetings with their staff, and they'll take them on a luncheon every quarter. So I'll expect like a high expense on like at the end of March for them taking for training or something like that. So they bought their meals, things like that. And then at the end, we might have some kinship loan or small business loan people that are here today. I usually track that line, but it doesn't go into your revenue, your profit and loss. It's going to go into your balance sheet. But here is the other. So I stick that here. That way we're tracking it, like everything that's going on. So this person is paying like 110 a month for their kinship loan. So I can tell it's a monthly fixed price. And then they decide that they're only gonna pay themselves, they stipend themselves 1,000 a month. So if we were to do 1,000 a month and all the way through December, our total should be $12,000 because we're already anticipating that projection there. So this is kind of what it looks like. And that's where I'm trying to say, like, when you record keep and keep things clean up, and this is what I kind of envision you to look at it in this nice, clean way and say, oh, okay, now I know. You're going to be able to like look at some of these line by line, like contract laborers. They only maybe have one person doing, I don't know, a work here. Let's say I am their internal bookkeeper, and they know that they only have one person there. They're paying them $200 a month to do that work every month too. So things like that. So it makes things a little bit easier. I think I'm kind of done reviewing some of these formats. Feel free to start asking me questions. We can like do if you want to do like verbal, or video, or whatever they call them.
Yeah, so if you do have a question, you can come off mute and ask your question to Delphina here. But yes, thank you all for joining today's workshop with Delphina Begay. Definitely a good resource for your small business. Delphina is going to be posting up her information here. Feel free to reach out to her. She does have consultation to get an idea of what you need for your business expenses, and I definitely recommend her. So thank you all again for joining today's workshop. And if you do have any questions, you are able to come off mute, and Delphina will be able to answer those questions for you.
And am I on that? Can you see my information? Oh, okay. Anybody? Okay, let's see. Do I have 2 questions?
Yes, and don't forget that good chart of accounts that Delphina referenced. It's in the chat for you to download and your reference. And then the link to the IRS form. There's also instructions on how to fill that out there at that form. If not, I would also send Delphina an email so she can further help you. Yes, very good information today. Again, thank you for joining us. We have a question in the chat, Delphina.
Okay.
They want to know what the difference is in Schedule C and K.
Schedule C and K. Are you talking about Schedule C and F? Because Schedule C is for the like small business expenses. I know Schedule F is for farmers and agricultural businesses. But K,
Or maybe
I'm
a
not
K
sure. I'm
later.
just thinking maybe 1099K is what you're actually asking. Just give me clarifications and we can, or resend it to me and see what you're specifically asking for. Because that's going to be 2 different. 1099Ks are like tax, like W-9. 1099. Let me see, I have Marissa that says, say we made one-stop purchase at Walmart, office supplies, cleaning supply, and kitchen supply, all in one transaction. Do I need to separate transfer each category? I hope that makes, I'm at this shop, it's pretty loud. It's up to your discretion, Marissa. If you want to be really, if you want to make sure that you want to itemize those departments, by all means, you can just go off. It's okay to run your card at Walmart and have the total, and then whatever the total amount, break it back, cost allocate it to office supplies, cleaning supplies, and kitchen supplies. Otherwise, you can just roll it up in one. It just depends on how detailed you want your expenses at that time. In your case, if you are the restaurant type business or cleaning supply business, I would just go ahead and cost allocate it and just like break that total amount off the receipt. So put all the office supplies together, the cleaning supply, keep them all separate is what I'm saying. But if not, at the end on the Schedule C at the end of the year, it just makes sense to just roll it back up to supplies. Either it's going to be in supplies or you can put in office supplies. So it's up to your discretion, Marissa. So she said the spreadsheets you showed are kept updated weekly. Debbie, I do the bookkeeping for a lot of my clients, and I only do it once a month for them. And then these uncategorized items, they kind of know that they need to turn around time 3 to 4 days. I try to give them only 3 days to give me backup documentations when I don't know where they're at. They're in uncategorized income or uncategorized expenses. So I honestly, I'm a monthly person with everyone just because everybody's has different schedules. There is a few that I do have a lot of moving accounts, and I try to do that every 2 weeks. So if you're not really moving pieces, just kind of make a schedule for you to do it once a week and do it the first week of every month. And again, just feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Best is just email me if you have any questions, if you're still doing extensions. If you have not done your extensions, let me know. I can send you some links to do that all digitally or electronically, I mean. Anything else? Oh, so somebody, okay. Did they mean K1? Let me look into that for you, and if you can send me your email, I'll review it to get clarifications. Oh, who is it? Oh, Derek. Okay. Yeah, Derek, just go ahead and send me an email. I think everybody else is.